documented. Okay, guys, wait a minute. Okay, so a graph, guys. Have you ever, what is it? So sometimes
Disconnect ya.
Hello. How did Kara is host now?
No, not me.
Was it internet problem, Bang
I don't
Kautsar?
know, it's just strange. The Zoom just out of nowhere. I don't know, but okay, let's get started. Okay, I hope I won't be kicked again. Okay, now you can see my slides, right? Okay, so have any one of you ever mentioned or explained a graph, guys? Anyone? How about Kak Fazria? Kak Fazria, have you ever explained a graph? Maybe?
Yeah, I've ever.
Okay, so in what kind of event that you have to explain about a graph, Kak Fazria?
Um, Economics.
Sorry? Mixed? Hello, is it my connection?
My internet connection.
Oh, it's yours? Wait, let me also double check for my connection. Oh my God. It's also my connection. Okay, I think it's better now. Okay, let's ask Kak Eka instead. Kak Eka, have you ever described a graph previously?
Like drawing or chat.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm,
For design something or
mm-hmm.
make a like structure organisasi maybe.
Okay, okay. So you have explained about that in terms of what you explained previously, right?
Yeah.
Okay, okay. So in like a diagram, more like a diagram, right?
Like
Okay. How about Bang Dedi? Have you ever, what is it, experienced a graph previously, like in your school task, probably?
No.
Oh
Eh,
no. How
maybe
about in
in.
math?
Oh, I know. There's a matter in math
Mm-hmm.
when
Like this one, probably a pie chart.
oh the matter in junior high school.
Oh, okay, okay. So you have experienced this kind of graph previously, right?
Right.
Okay, okay. Let's ask Bang Faris. Bang Faris, have you ever explained a graph before? I'm sure that you're what is it, like a lab assistant, so I'm sure that this is really close to you, right?
No,
No?
but
Okay.
I just the last time I presented the graph actually in an undergraduate in English
Oh,
lesson.
okay. Oh, I see, I see. So you've never had like a graph about performance of something?
No, there
Line
is not
graph?
graph. There is
Mm-hmm.
not graph actually. It seems like simultaneism. It's different, right?
Okay. Like this line graph, have you ever?
I think it's different
Oh,
type
it's
of
different.
diagram.
Oh, okay, okay, okay. So actually graph, there are a lot of kinds of graph. Like
Uh,
the previous what is it, slide here. We got pie chart, we got bar chart, we got organizational chart here, we got picture graph, cosmograph, line graph, flow chart. There's a lot of graph. I'm sure that flow chart you have ever experienced too, right, Bang Faris? Yeah. So those are the types of graphs. Not all, but some. Okay, so for today, I would like to, what is it, introduce you into the graph that contains of information. For precisely, it's about the line graph, most likely, or the bar graph. So it's basically have the change over the periods, like in 2008, 2009, and in 2014, something like that. Okay, let's get started probably. I need a hand. Okay, how about Bang Rega? Would you like to maybe explain or describe this graph from what you know, probably? What you inform from this graph?
So from this graph we can conclude that the cells in I don't what's characteristics.
Is it
The
too
cells
small
in
for you?
no no problem.
Okay.
Yeah, we can conclude that from this graph, cells in Asia it's getting better, more better than cells in Europe since
Mhm.
2008 until 2014, and cells in Europe is just like, how do I say it? Stagnant.
Stagnant?
It's increasing little bit, but not that
Mhm.
much.
Okay, okay.
Yeah,
That's it?
even cells in Asia is 4 times bigger
Uh-huh.
than in Europe. So we have
Okay.
to expand the market in Europe probably.
Okay, that's your personal opinion.
Yeah,
The last
just
one. We
trying
have to expand in Europe,
to
right?
work as marketing like
Oh, okay,
like
like
Eka,
Kaika.
like Eka.
All right, all right. Thank you, Bang Rega. Okay, so basically you have mentioned about what is sales. This graph is actually mentioned about the sales, right? There are two sales here that we presented in the graph. The first one is sales in Asia. The second one is sales in Europe. Okay. And then you also mentioned about the year previously from 2008 until 2014, right? Okay. And then you also mentioned about the, what is it? The increasement here. So comparing to Europe, sales in Asia, it's a lot bigger, lot higher, lot, it's much more comparing to the Europe, right? It's almost 4 times, right? 4 times bigger. Okay, that's correct. That's correct. Okay, thank you, Bang Rega. That's a very good job that you've done there. Okay, so based on IELTS writing, guys. So this is actually graph that had in the IELTS writing test. It's just the actually writing test. It has like a two different parts. So this is the first one. So for the first one, we have to explain about a graph usually. Okay, it can be like a map. It can be the graph that contains like cells like this one and so on. So basically, it's about explaining the graph or describing the graph. Okay, so what Bang Rega's done is actually very good one, but it could be improved actually how the way we could describe the graph. Okay, so how do we could improve that? Okay, the first one, we could use the structure, a better structure. So this is really, what is it? This is really recommended for explaining the graph or describing the graph. So usually, there are one, two, three structure that we could actually mention. The first one, we have to tell about what kind of graph is that. Bang Rega is doing great previously. This graph is actually mentioned about sales, right? Sales in Asia and Europe between 2008 until 2014. Okay, that's the first part. We have to introduce the graph itself. Okay, And then the second one, usually we tell the overview about the graph. So overall, what did happen in this graph? Okay, don't forget to use the past tense because this is the graph that happened in the past because it says from 2008 until 2014, right? We have to stick to the graph that we actually represented in the graph. Okay, then what is the overview? Okay, so overview here, as we can see, we could conclude that the sales in Asia it's higher than, I mean, the trend of sales in Asia it's higher than the trend in Europe. That's it. That's the overview here. So overview is something that really what is it? Really recognized when we saw the graph at the first time. So that's about the overview. Okay. Then after mention about the overview, then we have to mention about the highlight. So the highlight, it's actually usually something that we that's really interesting about the graph, not the overall, but like the things that we feel that this is important to mention. Okay, so for instance, like the first year here, the value it's almost the same, right? It starts in around at the same value, something like that. So we could actually mention that. And then we, according to this graph, probably there's nothing else. There's nothing much that we can tell. And then we could jump into the conclusion on the final year here. Probably that's the way. Okay. And one more thing, since this graph is actually not mentioned about the exact value, so don't mention about in the final year here, the sales in Europe, it's 37.5. Okay, so don't say about the exact number, but actually you could mention about around. So this is about like not exact number, but like that's some kind like a prediction because we can't really predict what number that this point actually exists, right? So just mention about around or merely, or for this one, you could say about just above 37.5. And then in Asia, you could also mention just above 150. That's it. So don't say the exact number. Okay. But previously, Bang Rika is also right that you could actually mention about the sales in Asia in the final year here is actually around 4 times higher comparing to the Europe. It can be. So still put around there because it's not really exact, right? So that's the important point. Okay, that's about the structure. And then how we could actually improve more. Okay, one way that we could improve is actually using a different vocab. So since the graph mostly it's about increasing, decreasing, and then leveled off, something like that, we have to vary our vocabulary, right? So that you or the audiences won't be bored by the words that you used. Okay, so that's why I brought you the useful graph vocabulary for today. Okay, so from this graph, we can see that the number is increasing each year, right? So for increasing or up, we have lots of option here. You could use increase, you could use rise, you could use grow, went up, soar, double, multiply, climb, exceed. But for double or multiply, of course, it's, it has to be close to the double. For instance, like from 10 into 20, we can use double, right? It's increased, but the value it's doubled, right? So multiply like 3 times, 4 times. For instance, like previously, the cells in Asia, it's multiplied comparing to its on the first year here, it's multiplied, and comparing to Europe, it's 4 times bigger, around 4 times bigger, something like that. Okay, that's for increasing. So for increase or up, we could use those vocabularies. Okay, then of course for there is an increasing, there is a decrease. Okay, so for decrease, for downtrend, we could use decrease, drop, fall, decline, plummet, half, depreciate, plunk. Okay, so there's a lot like this tables. Oh, sorry, like this graph, for instance, mostly from the initial year here, 2006 until 2009, it has decreasement, right? We could use decrease here. We could use drop. We could use fall. So, but usually for drop, fall, decline, usually the decreasement it's a lot, guys. So probably for the first year it's decrease, but for the second year from 2010 until 2012 it's fall. Okay, so the the difference it's that much. So decrease is just a bit, but drop, fall, it's so much, it's so many. Okay, so that's it about drop, fall, decline, depreciate, plunk, it's the same. Okay, and then what if the value is actually not going up, not going down? Yeah, it's usually going up, goes up and goes down. So you could actually say it's fluctuated, fluctuate, undulated, or a dip. Okay, so for ups and down, it's fluctuate, undulated, and dip. But how about okay, so for up and down like this one. So overall of this graph, it's actually up and down. So you could actually say that this graph is actually fluctuate. Okay. Then next, it's about same. For instance, like in this graph, 2009 and 2010. So actually, we don't really say that this is the same, but as we can see here, it's almost looks the same, right, in terms of the value. So we could say it's stable, it's leveled off, remain constant, remain steady, or consistent. Okay, so for 2009 until 2010, we could say that stable, leveled off, remain constant or steady, or consistent. Okay. All right. And then let's talk about the changes. Okay. So like previously I mentioned about a big change and a minor change, something like that. So if the change is just small or minor change, you could actually mention gently, gradually, slightly, steadily, or a little. Okay, gently, gradually, slightly, steadily, a little. That's for a small changes. And then for big changes, you could also say suddenly, increase suddenly, something like that. It can be used. And then sharply, rise sharply, you could use that. Dramatically, steeply, or sudden change, something like that. That's for big changes. Okay, and then sometimes in the graph, like in this graph, probably in 1991, it reached its peak, right? It's like the top level. So for reaching the top level, we could actually say reach a peak or peaked or reach its highest level, something like that. So that's for reaching peak. Then for bottom out, like this one probably in 2013, So we could actually say bottom out, sank to a through, or the lowest level. Okay. All right. So those are the useful graph vocabulary that you could use to describe a graph, guys. So once again, I would like to mention about the structure. This is a recommended structure to actually describe a graph. So the first thing you need to do is actually by introducing what kind of graph that you have. Okay, so for this graph, it sells in Asia and Europe from 2008 until 2014, right? And then don't forget, since it's happened in the past, afterwards you have to use the past tense. Okay. And then for the next, it's about the overall value, or how the trend goes. That's the overview, sorry, the overview. So basically, I just tell what kind of graph that you have. Like, is it a increasing trend, decreasing trend, or a stable, or is it what is it, unstable graph, something like that. That's it. And the next, it's about the highlight. So for the highlight, you could mention about the initial start here, and then you could mention about the peak here in 1991, and then the trend for what is it, few years probably. That's how you actually say that, how you actually explain the graph. And last but not the least, it's about not exact number, since this is the graph that not contained the exact number. So just use around for the number, merely, or maybe the things that not really exact. That's completely okay. All right. So for describing a graph, guys, anyone have a question?
Nothing.
Okay. So I hope that next time you experience a graph and you are asked to explain or describe that graph, so that you could describe it in an easy way, guys. Okay. No question? All right. Let's see how many people do we got. Okay, so it's 8 members. Okay, I'll just divide the teams into 2, guys, maybe. Okay, so here's the topic for our discussion today. So actually, to explain about the environmental problem, probably you could use the, what is it, the graph vocab here, like increasing, decreasing. You could actually okay, you could actually vary the vocab here. Yeah, it's just to mention the changes. It's okay. All right, so this is the question that I need you to discuss. So it's about environmental problems. Okay, cutting down trees, and then environment will be improved in the future. What do you think the country's environment be like? Is it still remain a tree, probably remain trees, probably. How about in Kalimantan? How about in Jawa? Something like that. And then how about the older people? Do they have the same habit or attitudes towards the environment? Probably do they, what is it, like do littering, something like that? Please discuss that. Okay, and why do you think some people don't pay much attention to environmental problems? Okay, interesting topic to talk to, right? Okay, so I will divide the room into 2, guys. Okay, wait a minute. Let me set everything up, guys. Okay, all done. So, guys, I need to, oh, I haven't put that in the chat, guys. Wait. Okay, I've put that in the chat, so I'm sure you could actually see again later on. So don't forget to open your camera and microphone so that we could discuss more comfortably. So I have opened up the room by now, guys. Join up and have fun. Papa Dria? Okay.